The CJ5 is getting some updates today, so I had some big plans for the summer for this. Plan to drive it every day, but seems to be running into some issue which I believe is related to the ignition system. The Jeep starts up just fine, runs just fine, but then once it's warm, once you've been driving for a little while, it ends up dying sporadically. And then it won't start. After about an hour or so, once it cools down, then it'll start again. So from what I've read is that it's possibly the ignition module. It currently has, if you can see, MSD off-road module right now, the MSD 6. That's pretty cool. But we're going to update to a newer version. So I imagine the one on there right now is probably 10, 15 years old, if not older. I have no idea. I really don't know about the wiring either. It's kind of a bird's nest. So we're going to take a look at that too. I've already added the MSD Blaster 2. I already had one, so I just replaced the one I had. In addition, we're also going to be, in a later video, installing a new MSD distributor. So I went ahead and just upgraded all MSD while I was in there. Figured why not. I already, I gave it a big tune-up when I got it, not too long ago, and it was running great. So I assume the distributor that's in there is just fine. But we'll see what that new MSD distributor does once we've concluded that we've resolved the issue with the MSD module. So let's get started. So it looks like the old module was connected to the alternator, which in the instructions it says not to do. So what we're going to do is suggest either connecting to the battery or the starter solenoid. Starter solenoid is right next to where the module is going to be. So to save us some of the bird's nest here, we're going to wire right into the starter solenoid. That should make things a little bit easier. So let's see if this guy starts. It's been a while, so we need to get some fuel to the bowl, but it should start up here. See how she does. Not starting, so I'm going to switch some stuff off. Switch this back to the way it was. So this is the choke for the carburetor that comes from the fuse panel. So I thought I could splice into that, and I still might be able to, but who knows. We'll give this other one a shot here. So I'm hooking this back up to where it was originally. Don't necessarily know where these wires come from, so we'll see. Hopefully it works. Figure it all out later. Really want to get this done and cleaned up, because all these wires that I'm putting in here drive me crazy. Alright, so we got that back together the way it was. Let's reconnect the battery terminal. Alright, so I gotta get this guy mounted, get these wires cleaned up really quick, and then we'll take it for a spin. So I went to Ace Hardware, second trip of the day, picked up some screws and then picked up some bumpers. These bumpers, I think, are for a car door, like a GM car door or something like that. But in any case, the hole goes all the way through. It's got this little, I don't know what you'd call this, little grommet thing. You can cut the little grommet off, so then you got just a little bumper. So what you're supposed to do is have a little bumper to create a little buffer between the ignition module and the body, so it dampers down a lot of the vibration. So the holes for the old ignition module don't quite line up with the new one. So what I did is create a little stencil out of the MSD box, and I'm going to drill it from inside the wheel well. There's not much room inside the engine bay itself, so I think from the wheel well should probably be the easiest way. So we'll see how that goes. Everything's hooked up, looking good. We got the little rubber spacers in here. Everything's tight. Everything fits nicely. So now we got that mess to clean up. Hey buddy, what are you doing? You wrenching around?
Yeah.
What are those?
Wrench.
Those are pliers.
Pliers. And crescent.
Can you give me the crescent wrench? Where's the crescent wrench?
Right here.
Nope, that's a socket wrench. Where's the crescent wrench?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Nice job.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Woohoo! All right, so cleanup complete. Pretty satisfied with how that turned out. I was able to tuck away a lot of wires. As you can see, cut away a lot of wires. Trimmed up a lot. There was a lot of extra wire when these were laid out. I don't think anybody really cleaned them up. So I'm not going to win any shows with how this turned out, but hopefully it won't break down again. But I haven't done a test drive yet, so we'll do a test drive here pretty soon. But overall, works good and looks good, so we'll see how it goes. So final setup for the wiring here. The two wires that were coming from the alternator, like I said, you couldn't run it to the alternator, so I ran it to the starter solenoid. So we have the power coming from the starter solenoid. we have the ground going to the block. You have 2 wires, an orange and a black, that run to the MSD blaster coil. The wire that I was having issue with was the 12 volt switched wire. There was a wire that was existing that I didn't attach to initially. I didn't know where that was coming from, so I was skipping through that one. The thing that messed me up was I spliced into the choke wire because I have this coming from the fuse box. I ran that one myself. I know that that's a switched 12 volt, but something about the connection with the choke was messing that up. It would make it look like the controller was on, but for some reason it wouldn't start like you saw. So I put that back the way it was, and then I took the 12 volt switched wire that was running the old controller. I tapped into that, and that's when it started to work again. So that's when we were able to start it. So we have that, and then there's one more wire. It's the connection to the distributor. But that's pretty much it. The wiring is pretty simple. I left some wires open just in case I want to, or not just in case. We're going to use this guy is for the new distributor when I install that, and then the gray wire here is for a tachometer. I don't have a tachometer on here. I don't really plan to put a tachometer on here. I'm not going to be racing around. I don't really see the need for it, but I saved it nonetheless. It's not getting in the way too much. So that's it. Pretty simple install for the most part. Just kind of guess and check your way through, but there's only so many wires to go through. The diagrams and everything for the controller that come in the instructions are really good. There's 5 or 6 different setups that they have outlined for you. So pretty simple to follow. I did take the Jeep for a test drive. I drove it around for about an hour and 45 minutes, and that worked really good. I had absolutely no issues. Took it on the freeway, stop and go traffic. I had 0 issues whatsoever, like I said. So I think problem solved. Now I just need to figure out how to install a distributor. I've never done that before, but I have seen some pictures online, and it didn't seem like an exact science for getting this thing installed correctly. See if I can do a little bit more research before I attempt that. I don't want to mess anything up. I assume if I mess something up, it's going to be hard to get it back to normal again. So we'll give that a try here in a week. But so far so good. Really happy with the install here. Happy this thing's running again. See if I can use it as my daily driver for a little bit. Thanks for watching.